My mother left everything to my brother. "You'll be fine on your own," she said. I was, and I bought her house at auction when my brother lost it to debt. Now she and my brother aren't on the welcome list. Only my dad is. I'm Alex, 34, and I've always been the responsible one in our family. Growing up, my parents made it clear they had different expectations for my brother Mike, 30, and me. "Alex is smart. He'll figure things out," they'd say. Meanwhile, Mike got constant help, second chances, and endless support. Our dad was always fair, stern but loving to both of us equally. Mom, however, played favorites from day one. Mike was her precious boy who could do no wrong. I was, well, the one who would be fine no matter what life threw at me. The dynamic was painful but manageable while Dad was alive. He balanced things out, made sure I wasn't completely overlooked. Then 3 years ago, Dad was diagnosed with aggressive cancer. Those final months were brutal. Watching this strong man fade away broke something in all of us. After he passed, I expected grief to bring what remained of our family closer. Instead, it revealed the true depth of my mother's favoritism. 2 months after the funeral, Mom called us both for a family meeting about Dad's estate. I remember that day vividly, the tension in the room, the way Mom couldn't quite meet my eyes. "Your father and I always agreed," she began, though I knew that was a lie, "that different children need different kinds of support." She continued with practiced lines about how capable I was, how I had a good career, while Mike was still finding his way. Then came the bombshell: Dad's life insurance, their savings, the family home with its paid-off mortgage, even the vacation cabin we'd spent summers at. Everything was going to Mike. Every single asset. "You'll be fine on your own, Alex," she concluded, patting my hand condescendingly. "You've always been the independent one." Mike sat there, not even pretending to be surprised. The betrayal wasn't just from Mom, it was from both of them. The plan had obviously been discussed extensively without me. "Dad would never have agreed to this," I said quietly. Mom's expression hardened. "Your father trusted my judgment about what's best for this family." The message was clear, discussion over. I left without another word, ignored their calls for weeks after. Eventually, I had to face reality. The estate had been transferred legally. There was nothing I could do. I grieved twice that year, once for Dad and once for the family I thought I had. Then I did what I've always done. I picked myself up and moved forward. I focused on my career in software development, took extra projects, built my savings. Not out of greed, but from a place of profound insecurity. If no one would be my safety net, I'd build my own. Meanwhile, Mike and Mom enjoyed their windfall. Mike quit his retail job, declaring he was going to start a business. Mom moved into a condo closer to her friends, letting Mike take over the family home. The business was some vague tech idea Mike didn't have the skills or discipline for. He hired friends, bought expensive equipment, and rented flashy office space. I heard updates through mutual friends, how Mike was finally coming into his own, and Mom was so proud. I maintained minimal contact, holiday texts, occasional brief calls. It was too painful to watch them enjoy what Dad had built while I'd been deemed unworthy of any part of his legacy. Then, 18 months after Dad's death, the text from Mike started. Casual at first, asking about business contacts, wondering if I knew any investors. Then more desperate, questions about loans, mentions of temporary cash flow issues. I responded politely but distantly. His business problems weren't my concern. One night, a mutual friend called. "Did you know Mike took out a second mortgage on your parents' house?" And a third. I hadn't known. Apparently, Mom had signed over the house entirely to Mike shortly after the inheritance. He'd been using it as collateral for business loans he wasn't repaying. I still might have stayed out of it, but then came the call from my father's oldest friend, Uncle Pete, not really my uncle, but Dad's best friend since college. Your dad would be heartbroken seeing what's happening, he said. He never wanted this. The plan was always to split things equally. Your mother changed everything after he became too sick to fight her on it. That revelation hit me like a physical blow. Dad hadn't betrayed me. He'd been betrayed himself in his weakest moments. Uncle Pete confirmed it with copies of earlier will drafts Dad had shown him. Everything had been split 50-50 before Mom convinced Dad to let her handle things when he became too ill. It changed nothing legally, but it changed everything emotionally. This wasn't Dad's wish. It was Mom's manipulation. With that knowledge, I began paying attention to Mike's business troubles. Through industry connections, I learned his company was failing catastrophically, massive debt, no viable product, lawsuits from investors. When I checked county records, I discovered notices of default on all 3 mortgages against the family home. Foreclosure was imminent. Mike had burned through everything: the savings, the insurance money, and now the house. Mom's condo was safe in her name, but the home where we grew up, where Dad had built his life, was about to be lost. I could have warned them. I could have offered help. I did neither. Instead, I contacted a lawyer and a real estate specialist. I learned everything about the foreclosure auction process. I established an LLC to make purchases. I gathered my savings and secured financing for the rest. The day of the auction was surreal. I sat in the back of the county courthouse, baseball cap pulled low, as my childhood home appeared on the docket. There were few bidders. The housing market was down, and the property needed work. My first bid was challenged once, twice. I raised my paddle each time. Then silence. Sold to the gentleman in the back. I now own the house I grew up in, the house I'd been deemed unworthy of inheriting. My lawyer handled the paperwork. My name never appeared, only my LLC. I gave the bank their money, signed the documents, and received the keys to a property that should have been partly mine all along. 3 weeks later, I received the call I'd been expecting. It was Mike, his voice shaky. Someone bought the house at auction. The bank says we have 30 days to vacate. He paused. Can we stay with you for a while? Just until Mom and I figure things out. I'm sorry to hear that, I replied calmly. Unfortunately, I don't have space for both of you. The silence on the line was deafening. Alex, please. We've nowhere else to go. Mom's condo is too small, and she's underwater on it anyway. We made some mistakes, but we're family. Family. I repeated the word, tasting its bitterness. Was I family when Mom gave you everything? Was I family when Dad's wishes were ignored? Was I family when you were taking out mortgages on a house that should have been half mine? Mike started crying. Actually crying. I didn't know, he sobbed. Mom said Dad wanted me to have everything because you were already successful. I believed her. I should have questioned it, but it was easier not to. You're right, I said. You should have questioned it. You should have considered what was fair. But you didn't, and now here we are. I paused, considering my next words carefully. I can't help both of you, but I'll help Dad. Dad? What are you talking about? Dad's gone. Mike sounded confused through his tears. Not entirely, I replied. I've been paying for his gravesite maintenance and visiting him weekly, something you haven't done in over a year. And I have his ashes, the ones Mom gave to you for safekeeping that you shoved in a closet. There was shocked silence on the line. Then, what are you saying, Alex? I took a deep breath. I'm saying I bought the house, Mike. My company purchased it at auction, and I'm moving Dad's ashes into it where they belong. He'll be the only one living there. The explosion was immediate: shock, anger, accusations. You can't do this. Mike shouted. That's our family home. I remained calm. It's my property now, legally purchased, and the only family member welcome there is Dad. I ended the call as Mike continued to protest. The fallout was nuclear. Mom called, alternating between tearful pleas and vicious accusations. Extended family members weighed in, some supporting me, others condemning my cruelty. I simply forwarded Uncle Pete's email with the original drafts to anyone who criticized me. That usually ended the conversation. I had the house completely renovated, not to erase the past, but to honor it. Dad had always talked about updates he wanted to make, but never found the time for. I created the home he had envisioned. In the living room, I placed Dad's ashes in a beautiful custom-made wooden box, crafted from the oak tree that had stood in our backyard until a storm took it down years ago. I visit weekly, maintain the property meticulously. Sometimes I stay overnight, sitting in Dad's old study, feeling a connection to him I'd feared was lost forever. Mom and Mike have since moved to a small apartment in another state. I heard Mike finally found steady work. Nothing glamorous but honest labor. Perhaps losing everything was the wake-up call he needed. Mom still sends messages occasionally, apologies mixed with justifications. "I only wanted to protect Mike," she wrote recently. "You were always so capable." I haven't responded. Some betrayals run too deep for words to heal. Uncle Pete visits sometimes. We sit in the backyard, drinking Dad's favorite whiskey, sharing stories about him. Was it petty revenge? Perhaps partly. But it was also justice, reclaiming what should have been shared family legacy and preserving it for the one person who truly deserved it. Dad's home is still Dad's home. My mother and brother chose greed over family. I chose to honor what family should have meant all along. People ask if I'm lonely in that big house by myself. I'm not. There's peace in knowing I've created the sanctuary Dad always wanted. Sometimes I talk to him, sitting beside his ashes, updating him on my life, asking questions I'll never hear answered. In those moments, I feel him there, proud of the man I've become, even without the inheritance he intended me to have. The greatest irony? Mom was right about one thing. I was fine on my own. More than fine. Strong enough to build my own success and, ultimately, to buy back what should have been part of my birthright. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's using that success to restore justice in a world that rarely offers it freely. As for forgiveness, that's a journey I'm still on. Not for their sake, but for mine. Until then, the house stands as both monument and metaphor, a tangible reminder that what was broken can be reclaimed, what was lost can be found again, just not always in the ways we expect.